A dying cowboy collapses in the heart of the Arizona desert, only to be saved by a lone Apache widow whose courage and compassion defy the sands of death. What begins as survival becomes a story of rebirth, hope, and unspoken love. Like, subscribe, and follow for more timeless Western tales. Let's get started. The Arizona sun blazed like a punishment from heaven, burning the land and cracking the ground beneath it. Jake Turner had been a cowboy all his life, a man who knew the moods of the desert, its beauty, its wrath. But that day, the desert turned against him. His horse had bolted with his saddlebag, leaving him with nothing but a half-empty canteen and a revolver that felt heavier than sin. He'd been chasing a stolen mare, a prized paint horse worth more to him than gold. Now, that mission seemed a lifetime away. Each step was a battle. The sand burned through his boots, the wind stung his eyes, and his tongue felt like dry leather. The horizon shimmered like a cruel mirage, mocking every desperate step. By the second day, Jake could barely stay upright. The canteen was empty, his throat raw. He thought about turning back, but there was nowhere to go, only endless dunes of fire. His shadow stretched long beside him, thin as a ghost. He tried to recall landmarks, Canyon Ridge, Dry Creek, Mesquite Tree, but they had all blurred into the same wasteland of heat and glare. When his knees finally gave out, Jake laughed weakly at the absurdity. "So this is how it ends," he muttered. His fingers dug into the burning sand, searching for a mercy that wasn't there. As darkness closed in, something moved on the horizon. At first, he thought it was another mirage, a trick of light, but it didn't fade. A figure approached, cautious but sure. A woman. She wore old buckskin, her hair braided and streaked with dust. When she knelt beside him, her hand was cool against his burning forehead. "You live?" she asked softly. Her English was broken, but her voice held warmth. Jake tried to answer, but only a hoarse whisper came out. Without another word, she hooked her arms under his shoulders and dragged him toward a distant rise, her strength defying her size. They reached a small shelter built from stones and hides, half hidden by rock. Inside, the air was cooler, scented faintly with herbs and smoke. She laid him on a woven mat, lifted a small gourd to his lips, and said, "Drink." Slow. The first sip burned, then soothed. Water, real water. Jake coughed, then drank again, his hands trembling. Her name, he would later learn, was Nia, an Apache widow who had lost her husband to outlaws months before. Since then, she had lived alone, surviving off roots, herbs, and the rare mercy of rain. As the sun dipped behind the rocks, Nia tended his cracked skin with aloe and ash, murmuring words in her native tongue, prayers, perhaps. Jake wanted to thank her, but exhaustion dragged him under before he could speak. In fevered dreams, he saw fire and running horses, then a woman's face bathed in moonlight. When he woke again, the wind outside was howling. The smell of smoke and sage filled the shelter. Nia sat by the fire, grinding herbs in a clay bowl. When she noticed his eyes open, she gave a faint smile, both weary and kind. Jake tried to sit up. "Why'd you help me?" he croaked. She stirred the mixture, her gaze steady. "You still breathe," she said simply. "Desert not take you yet." She handed him a small cup of bitter liquid. "Drink. Give you life." He obeyed. The taste was harsh, but soon warmth spread through his chest, breaking the fever's grip. Nia moved quietly, wrapping him in a hide blanket. Outside, coyotes cried in the distance, but inside there was peace, fragile, sacred, born of compassion. Jake had always believed a cowboy's life was meant to be solitary, riding, fighting, working alone. But as Nia cared for him through that long night, he realized solitude could kill faster than thirst. She spoke little, but her silence carried meaning. Every time he woke, she was there, steady, unyielding, eyes fixed on the fire as if it held her memories. The world outside might have forgotten them both, but within those stone walls, they existed. Two lost souls bound by chance and the will to survive another dawn. When Jake next awoke, the fever had broken. Nia was still there, sitting quietly by the fire. The glow painted her face in shades of gold and amber, her expression calm but distant. She handed him a cup of water. Slow, she reminded. He sipped, each drop a small miracle. For a long time, neither spoke. The silence between them was not empty, it was alive with understanding. Days passed. Jake's strength returned slowly. Nia's shelter was humble but filled with life, woven baskets, drying herbs, handmade tools. She showed him how she trapped rabbits, gathered cactus fruit before dawn, and used the desert's cruel beauty to survive. In return, Jake helped mend her walls, patched the roof where the wind had torn the hides loose. Words were few between them, their work was their language. Nia told him of her husband, Takakota, a warrior who had died defending their people from raiders. After his death, she chose solitude over grief, retreating into the desert with nothing but memories and strength. Jake listened in silence. He knew loss too, his younger brother killed on a cattle drive years ago. They were both haunted, both scarred, yet together that pain felt lighter, shared in quiet company. As his body healed, so did something within him. The desert no longer looked like a place of death, it was alive. The wind carried the scent of sage, the sky stretched endless and silver at night. One evening, Nia pointed to the stars. The sky remembers everything, she said. Even those we lose. Jake watched her face glow in the starlight and realized she wasn't just surviving. She was enduring, with grace and fire. Days turned into weeks. Their silence grew comfortable, almost sacred. They built small routines, fetching water, tending the fire, mending tools. When Nia's hand trembled one afternoon while lifting a branch, Jake took it gently from her. Their fingers brushed. Time seemed to stop. Her eyes met his. Not love, at least not yet, but trust. The kind that grows in places untouched by lies or fear. That evening, they shared roasted cactus fruit, and for the first time, laughter echoed softly between the stone walls. A sound so rare it felt like a prayer. Jake almost forgot there was a world beyond those hills. He repaired her corral, tamed a stray horse that had wandered near. The animal grew calm under their hands. He found himself thinking, maybe I could stay. But reality lingered. His ranch, his unfinished life waited somewhere beyond the horizon. He wrestled with the thought each night as Nia hummed softly by the fire, her voice low and haunting. Then one morning, the desert broke its silence. Distant hooves. Voices. A patrol of soldiers appeared on the ridge, dust rising behind them. They dismounted, staring in disbelief. Turner. We've been searching for you for weeks. Town thought you were dead. Jake blinked at them, the words heavy as stone. He turned to Nia. She said nothing, only gathered her tools and stood aside, calm and composed. She would not ask him to stay. The soldiers offered him a horse, a way back to Tucson, to the world he'd once called home. Jake hesitated. The air between them was thick with everything left unsaid. He walked to Nia, holding out his hand. You saved me, he said quietly. How do I repay that? She looked at his hand, then at his face, her eyes steady. You live, she said softly. That is enough. The word struck deep. He understood then, gratitude wasn't something to repay. It was something to carry forward. Before leaving, he helped her rebuild a fallen section of wall. When they were done, she handed him a small leather pouch filled with herbs. For the road, she said. He took it, knowing it meant far more than medicine, it was a piece of her world. As he mounted the horse, he turned once more. Nia stood in the doorway, framed by the setting sun, silent, unmoving, eternal as the desert itself. That night, as they camped miles away, Jake lay awake beneath the same sky she had named. The stars watched, cold and distant. He whispered her name into the wind, a promise only the night could keep. Nia hadn't just saved his life. She'd reminded him what it meant to live, with purpose, with grace, with the quiet courage to begin again. And from that day on, every time Jake Turner rode beneath the desert stars, he felt her presence in the wind, the warmth of the earth beneath him, and the whisper of a bond that even time could not erase. Two souls, bound by fate, found in the heart of desolation. Proof that even where death waits, love can still be born.